Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co, and this is Two Back or Not to Back, where we're going to take a look at a variety of crowdfunding campaigns, talking about the campaigns, what they are, what's included, stretch goals, pledge levels, add-ons, all those various things and more, and of course, should you back them or not. We have another short week for you. It's another, the past few weeks, there's been, very few heavy hitters going on. This week we got some nice medium ones, but again, nothing crazy going on, so depending on what you're eyeing already, or depending on what you've backed already, your wallet is safe-ish again for another week. It doesn't mean you won't buy anything, but there's less stuff going on. It's gonna be a short week. I'm guessing another half an hour-ish long Two Back Not to Back, which again is very, very short for the series. But with that, let's go ahead and start off. As usual, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Cult of the Now. Cult of the Now is where we take a look at currently available games that you don't have to wait a year in advance. You don't have to go ahead and walk in blind without enough content, without enough reviews, previews of the audience who's had a chance to play it and tell you how they feel. Today we have Weird Word Manor for our Cult of the Now. Weird Word Manor, which was previously available on crowdfunding and is currently seems to be doing decently as far as ratings so far. You can check out a bunch of ratings from individual users or from whoever actually played the game, as many reviews as possibly can get your hands on. This is available from Game Nerds currently for $61, and currently the copies of this have been selling for a decent amount, so if you want to go ahead and get a chance to just try this one out, this is Weird Word Manor for our Cult of the Now. Before we go ahead and dive into the usual things, before we dive into the usual campaigns, usual reminder that I am CMO of GameFound. Please take that into account as we go through the videos. And we're going to go ahead and start off with Angel and Demons, a polyhedral metal dice set over here. This is our board game adjacent category. We're starting with our metal dice set from Kaka Popo TCG. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that over there, but they've done campaigns before. I don't know if they've done a dice gun. They did an accessories or something. I don't recall exactly, but it's giving you metal dice. A metal dice option over here, polyhedral metal dice with intricate designs. They have their infinity dice. They have two different main color palettes currently going on. I don't know if they'll add into that. They have dice trays, and they have infinity dice, which I think I said already, and they have this Lord of the Die over here, which is a dice spinner, where each side is going to be spinning to give you a whole bunch of all the dice you want, a six-sided dice, giving you all those dice in spinning form. So you can go ahead and check the video out on that. They have videos on the campaign page. But you can go ahead and check any of these out, see what catches your eye or interest. That's going to be your polyhedral metal dice set over here. Then we have, starting off in the not yet funding category, we have two in the not yet funding category. Both of them close, both of them likely going to fund, but we currently have The Lady and the Tiger Dragon's Flight at $8,000 out of a $10,000 goal. This is coming to you from Blackbeard Entertainment, and this is a trick-taking game-ish. I think it's trick-taking. I think it's categorized as trick-taking. But the original Lady and the Tiger, this game is basically based on you have these cards in the game. You have these blue tigers and red tigers, and blue ladies and red ladies, and it's almost a bit of a deduction game. You're trying to figure out which cards you need to go ahead and acquire as the, there's different sides to the game, but one player is trying to acquire different cards, but they might be trying to get blue tigers or red tigers or blue ladies or red ladies. Sorry, nope, I said it wrong. Either blue cards, red cards, tigers, or ladies. So you don't exactly know what combination they're trying to get, because everything they get, a blue tiger could fill two criteria, but they might get other cards as well. So there's a deduction element going on in the game, and it's a bunch of little versions of the game. There's different rules or adjustments. I think there's 6 or 7 games in the original game, and this new one, Dragon's Flight, is already adding 3. It looks like they're easily going to hit 4 of them, but I think they're going to be trying to add more as well. I'm not sure the total count they're going for, but Lady and the Tiger, Dragon's Flight is a sequel to the original game, but giving you currently 3 new games, and again, I think it's already going to be 4, but possibly more coming as well. The pledge levels for this game is going to be the $19 for this Dragon's Flight, so simple, straightforward, Dragon's Flight, all the stuff there. We have $29, which will give you the original Lady and the Tiger as well, so you get the current game plus the original game. You have the Jabberwocky bundle for $39 that gives you Lady and the Tiger, Dragon's Flight plus Jabberwocky, as well as the notebooks over here, Lady and the Tiger themed notebooks, and then for $45 you get the all-in, which you get all the games, the Jabberwocky, Travel Edition, regular Jabberwocky, 2 of the notebooks, things like that. Basically all the stuff you can possibly get, coming to you for $45. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? The game's decently rated, the original one. The new one, obviously, I don't know anything about yet, past as far as how it'll be rated, but the original one is decently rated, and it's a cute little game that's from Peter Hayward from Jellybean Games, although I don't believe Peter Hayward was actually the designer of this one. Jellybean Games just his game company. But past that, as far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? Usually small box games like this do have a harder time doing so. It's just the nature of the cost plus shipping on a smaller, less expensive game. So I do think this is one that if you get it, it likely likely is less likely to hold its value. Speaking of holding its value, I forgot to do this over here, but going forward in these videos, at the beginning I'll be mentioning, if you want to get a better sense of why I talk about value, if you don't already know, I actually just filmed a video talking about that whole aspect. For those of you who once in a while show up in these videos and are like, why are you talking about whether a game holds its value? You should just go ahead and play games, and that's why we're all here in the hobby. And I agree, which is why I filmed the video explaining that. You can check that out. I'll link to that down below. But past that, moving on to our next campaign, we have the Fisherman. The Fisherman by Darken over here, over on GameFound. This is another one that's not yet funded, although it's really, really close. 7741 out of 7800. Honestly, I should have just put this in the funded category. But the Fisherman board game over here is an almost RPG style board game where you're basically going to be building your boat and dealing with your stats as you wander off on well, different scenarios. There's different scenarios you can be playing as over here. There's I think there's a campaign mode if I'm not mistaken, but there's different sequence of scenarios where you're trying to hunt various fish or legendary beasts, and you're trying to figure out this pacing of how far out can you go, when do you need to return, what do you need to throw overboard to get further. You're trying to balance all these things so you don't get stranded in the waters, although if you do get stranded in the waters, you can turn to the other fishermen for help, although they may blackmail you into whatever they need to get out of the system because, you know, if they're going to help you, they want to get paid for their troubles. So basically, a little bit of an RPG of trying to fish and go after legendary things and have a little bit more than just basic fishing while trying to manage the actual economy and, well, the economy of going out, of what you can store, of what you can get back with, all of those things while dealing with a variety of events. The game's going to run you €60 for the base game and the €90 for the base game with the expansion pack and solo deck. It's worth mentioning, there's not a discount in those, not that I can see. Like these both together, the first expansion and solo play, it's going to be €30, so that's basically the same price, meaning if you want that, by all means get it. But if you're just interested in one and you're looking at it as a deal, it doesn't seem to be an extra deal over here. But if you do want the game, €60 and or €90 for that. As far as should you back or should you not will hold its value, less likely so. There's just like with 91 backers, this is one that doesn't have enough interest, and that will likely carry over to when the game delivers as well. If it's not a game for you, you likely won't be getting most of your money back on this one. Moving on, we have Blackbeard's Lost Fleet, 93 backers. Again, we have a light day, even like we only have like 6 or 7 campaigns, and even the ones we have are like a lot of them don't have a ton of backers right now. So it's a little bit of a lull in the crowdfunding sector at the moment. $16,000 raised or $17,000 raised, 93 backers. Blackbeard's Lost Fleet is a deck building, area control, not really worker placement, deck building, area control, what's the other mechanic? Worker placement game, kind of. I think it's got almost all those things in the game as you try to, you know, recover Blackbeard's Lost Fleet and be the winner of the game. I don't know the exact thematics of this. It's a pirate game. It's a pirate game with locations and deck building and placing people down those locations to trigger abilities and then area control and all those fun things. You can check out a full how to play from Genders Gaming if you want the full, more in details, everything of what's going on over here. But for the game itself, it's going to run you €59, around $66 for the base game, and then €99, so an additional €40 on top of that to get the deluxe game, which comes with 4 wooden treasure chests, 30 wooden barrels, and 30 metal coins. And I will scroll down to those in a second because they do look pretty chunky and whatnot. Then past that, we have €200 for the full-on treasure chest over here, and then €200 for the pirate over here, become part of the game. And then there was like €300, and then €600 for Blackbeard's cabin, which seemed a little over the top, giving you a ton of various accessories. We do have one person who's going and getting it. That's Blackbeard's cabin for €600 over here. As far as the actual extras over here, because I do want to show you those, we have, if we scroll down, these are going to be the wooden treasure chests that as player screens. They're going to be player screens for the game. We have wooden barrels and then metal coins. So these are the upgraded tokens you're getting for that additional €40 if you get that. As far as should you back or should you not, and then shipping is going to run you around depending where you are. USA is going to be €29 as well, which is a big amount on top of that €60, so you want to focus on that. And so that's basically going to be, as far as should you back or should you not will hold its value. I just think the price point is hard, especially when you factor in US-based shipping. Again, depends on where you are, of course, and where that might affect you, because there is cheaper shipping options depending on where you live. But I do think that running at €90 for this game is just much more than you'll be able to get back for it if it's not a game for you. Again, with 93 backers as well, means there's not a ton of demand, although some of that might be not a lack of demand, but people are being pushed away by the extra shipping price. When you're paying half the price of the game to go ahead and get it, when you're paying half the price on top of the game, it's just a mental hurdle. You're like, €60, that's expensive, and then you're like, okay, fine. And then instead of seeing €15, maybe €20 shipping, you're like, whoa, €30. It's a big chunk. I'm not saying it's not unreasonable. Shipping can be expensive, but those kinds of numbers can absolutely push people away. Moving on, we have our big one for the day, Leviathan Wilds second printing plus Deep Veil expansion from Mooncrab Games. This one over here, 4,800 backers currently, $445,000 raised. Leviathan Wilds has already been delivered and received and getting ratings and reviews and all those things. This is a solo or cooperative game that's in the vein of, what is it, Shadows of the Colossus, I think it is? Shadows of the Colossus, where you're basically climbing up these beasts and then trying to, like, you know, chip these gems off their backs, and then that's basically it. Each scenario is going to have a different monster you're facing. Each scenario will have each monster has a different deck of cards. There's a campaign mode aspect to this, where you're slowly getting stronger and stronger as you go through the game and unlocking abilities and getting more powerful, while the monsters also throw things at you. But it's basically a solo or cooperative dice optimization game with you know, just trying to manage your own abilities and trying to manage the various cards you have and all that, while the bosses, not really enemy because they're peaceful creatures who's just hurt right now, but the bosses effectively are going to be slowly but surely trying to throw things at you that make it harder for you to slowly climb and get done what you need, trying to damage you, all of those things in the game. So you're going to choose a Leviathan, challenge one of the beautiful Leviathans to go through the books, shuffle, build your deck, unlock content as you go, and then climb, jump, and glide all the way around as you break the crystals to win the game. That's the basic idea over here. That's from tabletop veterans or whatnot who have been behind different games from, looks like a lot of Fantasy Flight stuff over here, so I assume a lot of Fantasy Flight people. And that's basically what we have over here, which brings us to the rewards. The rewards, we have the all-in over here for new backers, $110. We have the all-in for returning backers, so if you already have the game, if you want the new stuff. We have all the new Leviathan Wilds content for first printing backers over here. We have the Founders Edition for €65. We have the all-in gameplay for €95, and then we have some just add-ons over here, the update kit for $5, deluxe component pack for $20, and the Deep Veil expansion for $34. Deep Veil is going to be adding new content, I think a new class, a new climber, and then like 8 Leviathans, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what's being given in that expansion over there. That's basically what we have over here. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value and all of that. This is one that I just was by shipping, so shipping over there. Shipping's going to run you around 12 to 15 for the Founders, basically going all the way to 17 to 21 for the all-in over there. Which again, that ratio is important as far as the price point of the game versus the cost of shipping. Even just perceptionally, that feeling of what you have as a backer and what you're getting your hands in and all that. But as far as should you back, should you not, will it hold its value? Looking at the original one so far, it does seem to be doing decently. Not necessarily amazingly, but in terms of, meaning it's not one that people are necessarily making money on, but it is one that people seem to be getting their money back, or at least maybe just losing shipping, something like that. So if you look at the original campaign, what people have to pay for the all-in there, and then what people have been selling it for on the secondary market, this one does look like one that people are getting their money back for the most part. Again, not making money, but if you do want to try it out, if you do want to see if it's for you, and if it doesn't end up being for you, this is one where you might be able to go ahead and get most of your money back, if not all of it. Moving on, we have Zombie Horde by Dark Games, $181,000 raised, $1,452 backers, 11 days left to go on this one. Zombie Horde is a tactical, cooperative zombie game where it's going to go through 2 basic phases. You're going to be dealing with this base building in this game, and then there's actual encounters and missions you're going on. So it's base building, it's tower defense, it's cooperative zombie destruction, and all of those things. The basic idea is you have an actual base. You're building an actual base, you have cards, you have survivors, you're trying to get more and more buildings, more and more things that will generate resources for you, so you're trying to survive and get your base taken care of. But meanwhile, you're also going on these missions, this exploration phase. You have the exploration phase and the colony phase, and in the exploration phase, you're going on these various missions where you wander out into the wilderness and then deal with a bunch of monsters who are trying to kill you, all while you try to survive, take them out, whatever the mission requirements are in that exploration phase. So you're just figuring out whether you're running out to try to get gear and food and come back to camp, whether you're just trying to survive because you wandered out too far and now suddenly you're dealing with a horde of overwhelming attackers. You are ultimately trying to figure out what to do, and you're dealing with all that with these 3D buildings and these towers of zombies that will slowly mob up onto the buildings. They just form piles of zombies and just climb onto the buildings to be able to go ahead and reach you, because otherwise they temporarily can't reach you, so you can buy yourself some time, but they will come your way and will slowly kill you. That's the basic idea of the game over here. You're just trying to manage the economy of your actions, well, it depends. You're managing the economy of your base, but then once you get to the exploration phase, you're managing the economy of your actions as you go. So different things you're trying to figure out as you try to survive in the game. There can be the boss expansion, which is free for all backers, this boss rush mission, and then past that, as far as the reward levels, we have $109 for the basic pledge over here, and we have $104, which is an early bird pledge, so that's not really available anymore, it's just saving $5, but $109 for the basic pledge. But for add-ons, we have the Necrogod boss for $5, we have the environment pack for $29, we have the Station of the Dam for $35, and we have the storage register for $12. So when Station of the Dam is going to be more content for the game if you want more gameplay content, but outside of that, you're basically looking at various extras that aren't necessarily necessary, but might add to your quality of life if I can scroll back to them. And stretch goals, they have a bunch of things unlocked already, and they'll continue to unlock things. It's coming from Dark Games. They have a bunch of games on their belt, from Neomorphosis, one of the more recent ones. They had Vampire Hunters. They have, what else they have? They have other ones that I not remember. Oh, the original not Dark Gate, they have Dark something else. They have a bunch of games under their belt. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? Definitely a little harder to say. Depends on what you look at for the most part. Like if you look at the most recent one, Neomorphosis. Neomorphosis doesn't have a ton of data. There's like no sold listings on BoardGameGeek. If you do look on eBay, it does seem to be one that has mostly held its value. Again, not necessarily making money, but people who backed that game and then turned out it wasn't for them, and they've mostly been able to get their money back on those ones. So that's basically it's been decent enough. As far as some of their original titles, their older titles, they've done an even better job holding the value. But that goes back to like, and when you look at 7 years ago crowdfunding, it's a different conversation than crowdfunding today. There was a different level of what kinds of games would do an amazing job holding the value and where the fatigue had kind of set in. And so it is different. That's why I'm much more focused on Neomorphosis. If you look at their older titles, they've even done a better job. Neomorphosis seems to represent where crowdfunding is a bit more now, where there's a lot more there's an overwhelming amount of these games, and therefore there's less interest in any individual one of them, and to that end, Neomorphosis did a decent job holding its value. This one does seem to be roughly on par where Neomorphosis was, as far as where the backer count is, where the funding count is. With 11 days left to go, we'll see. It probably does cross that, so the interest level might be a drop higher than Neomorphosis, but I would say this one is likely in the camp of, you'll probably get most of your money back if it's not a game for you, but I definitely wouldn't count on making bank on this one in any way, shape, or form, and it's one that, I could be wrong. It's always hard to see with these individual games. Based on their track record of Stargate games, I think you're likely to get most of your money back, possibly not all of it, especially when you factor in shipping. Moving on, we have a small box game over here. We have Panda Spin. Play cards to win tricks or lose tricks to get better cards into your hand. 449 backers, $12,000 in this, $12,000 raised, 15 days to go. I've actually reached out to them to see if they want to send me a copy to cover, because I've already played this one and I already like this one. So I already know I like it, may as well offer to cover it. So we'll see. There may be coverage on the channel. But basically I had a chance to play this one at Gen Con. This is Panda Spin, which is a shedding game. So it's in the category, the genre of trick taking, but this one's more of a shedding game where you're trying to get rid of the cards from your hands. Designed by Carl Shuduk from Glory to Rome, Innovation, Red 7, and a whole bunch of other games. But the basic premise of the game is just like any shedding game. You're playing through these ranks. Are you playing through a straight? Are you playing through sets of 2s or 3s or whatever? Like, what are you trying to play in the game? What makes this one interesting is that whenever you play cards, they don't go to a central pile. If you play cards and you get rid of your cards are gone. If you play cards and you didn't win the trick effectively, if you're not the last one standing, you get those cards back into your hand, you rotate them, and now you have the other side of the cards, which can be more powerful. So winning is essential because you get rid of your cards. Losing can be helpful at the right time because it gives you stronger tricks you can effectively play to get rid of larger chunks of cards or to overwhelm your opponents at the right time. So there is a balance of knowing effectively when to retreat, sort of, to come back stronger in the game, which is a mechanism I haven't seen done in shedding before. Not that I'm a shedding expert, but in the shedding games I've played, I haven't seen that done, and I really enjoyed that little puzzle as I was playing through this one at Gen Con. So I did like it. I only played it once, so there's that caveat there. But I did like the game when I played it, and I'm looking forward to playing this one more. It's going to come to you from Moongate Design, first-time publisher, it looks like. Or at least first time on crowdfunding, I should say. But that's basically Panda Spin. The game's going to run you $18 for an SM pledge over here, and it's going to run you $18 for the Angry pledge, but you're also going to be paying an additional $9 in shipping on top of that, which again, although, of course, depending on where you are, but if you look at this chart over here, you can see, for example, $9 on an $18 pledge. Again, that's just a lot of money. That takes that ratio. You're not doubling, you're taking a full half of the game and basically charging that. Now, it is a bit more reasonable because, again, $9 is not a crazy amount. It's a small game, but it still takes that $18 price point and puts it at $27, which is not the most fun. On the plus side, what you will be getting over here, as far as why I'm back now, you're going to be getting launching price. Again, I kind of ignore prices. I ignore anything that claims that's a deal on crowdfunding as far as the actual price point. It's always so hard to really tell there. But it's going to come with deluxe content, so you can get the wooden tokens and foil cards. Foil cards are going to be the big selling point there. I've seen this one with the foil cards. It looks beautiful. Like, this game looks absolutely beautiful with the foiling on those various things. I'm really enjoying foiling. Like, Pandasaurus has been doing it a lot, but although, ironically, this game with the panda is also doing it. But lots of companies have been adding more and more foiling to the cards, and it's a really nice look to it. Like, I think one of the first times I saw it done was with like 20 Strong and Chip Theory. They did that when it looked beautiful. Pandasaurus has been doing it a lot with their games. If you've seen, oh my gosh, what are the games? Courtesans is beautiful, but a lot of the games have it as well. And it's an effect that really makes some cards pop and stand out. So if you do want the deluxe edition of the game, this is where you're going to lock it in. As far as should you back or should you not will hold its value, it is hard to say. This is definitely not the cheapest way you get access to the game. There are going to be easier ways to get access to it. Right now we're looking at 451 backers, which is not bad considering the low amount of actual press I've seen around the game, I think this is one of those games that once it delivers, I think it's going to find an audience. I think this is one that people are going to want that foil edition. So this is definitely in the maybe camp as far as holding its value. I wouldn't hold your breath on it, but I do think that this game is going to find an audience, and because of that, I think people are going to want the deluxe edition of the game. And so even with the kind of $27 for it with the $9 shipping, I think it is more likely to hold its value, but that I'd be very hesitant taking that with too much certainty. I think for me, I'm definitely biased by thinking the game is good and thinking the game will find its audience. And so because of that, when you include the deluxe aspect of the game, I think it's more likely to hold its value, but I could be wrong. If I hadn't played the game, I would probably be guessing less likely. This is biased by my experience with the game, and that's always harder because what if I'm wrong? What if it's not liked as much as I enjoyed playing through it? So who knows there. But that's where Panda Spin is. Definitely, if your goal is the cheapest way to get your hands on the game, definitely waiting for retail is going to be the way to do that. If your goal is getting that nice version and then hopefully if it's not for you, you can get most of your money back, then it might be worth going ahead for that. Moving on, we have Norsemen by Skellig Games. 216 backers, 21,000 euros raised, 15 days left to go. Norsemen is sail the world to let your tribe prosper in this fascinating new style of Eurogame. The basic idea of the game is I believe it's played out across 5 rounds if I'm not mistaken. I did not have a chance to play this one. Meg covered it on the channel, but I didn't have a chance to play this. I think it's 5 rounds with ways for it to end earlier, but I might be confusing different games I've been covering or whatnot. But the basic idea of this game, there's an element of deck building, there's an element of tableau building. You're going to be using multi-use workers as you place them down over here. There's a lot of different mechanisms going on, and they all also with beautiful art as well, beautiful production, all of that. But the basic idea is that Euro mechanism, the tableau building, the worker placement, the asymmetric workers, the dash of deck building, all in this game with, again, looks beautiful overall as far as the game goes. That's the basic idea of the game, which is not a full thing, but you can check out Meg's preview on the channel if you want more information on that or any other content on the game. But as far as the rewards for the game, you have 45 euro for the basic start the Warriors pledge. We have 51 euro, which will give you those wooden things. They kind of did this thing where they have these different tiers of upgrades, and they kind of have different pledge levels for each one, which makes it a little confusing to follow. But then you have the all-in, but you also could just add it all yourself, although I think there was savings if you got them together. So we have Norsemen with more wood for 51 euro. We have Norsemen Noble Fabric for 58 euro. This gives you the player mats. We have the heavy metal for 65 euro. This gives you the base game plus coins, and we have the place for everything, which gives you the insert over here, which gives you for 70 euro on the game. And then we have the all-in for 105 euro, which I believe was a 20 euro discount of getting them all separately. So if you got them all separately, like the upgrade pack, the upgrade coins, all of those, I believe that gave you a 20 euro discount if you got all those together. And I think the Game Found Pack New Leaders, I think these had to be bought separately if I'm not mistaken. I don't think these are included in this, but let me just double check and click. I don't think they are included. Yeah, it does not look like they're included overall. But anyways, that's the basic game as far as price points and all that. Shipping is going to run you, let's go on shipping over here. Shipping is going to run you depending on which region you're in, but USA is going to be 25 euro on top of that, which again starts bringing your total cost of the game up to 130 euro, 140 euro, depending on what everything you're getting on the game. But you can also just get the game for 45 euro, although then the shipping is also, on top of that, which adds to the game as well. As far as should you back or should you not, will it hold its value? The game looks beautiful. I think it will be overall well received, but I think that also the lack of interest currently on this one, the 216 backers is not a ton, and I think that lack of interest generally, I talk about this a lot, usually if there's a lack of interest in the crowdfunding campaign, that lack of interest does tend to carry through to people buying the game down the road once you've gotten it and tried it. So I do think this is one that you're less likely to hold. I do think this is one that's less likely to hold its value if it turns out to be a game that's not for you. And that's basically all we have today. I think that's all we have today. Did I have anything else? No, I think why did I feel, oh, that's why. I had them out of order earlier because I think Fisherman was originally my last campaign, because I usually do this, fun fact over here, in case you don't know this, I usually do this based on how many days are left in the campaign. It's always ordered by 7 days left to go, and then 10 days left to go. That's the way I order these. But then I moved Fisherman to the beginning because Fisherman technically wasn't funded, although it looked like it almost was funded. So a little behind this inside baseball as far as how I do these here. But with that means it's time for our pick of the week. Pick of the week is usually where I take a look at the games and I talk about the game that I think is most likely to hold its value overall, and the game that is my personal interest pick of the week. The game I'm most interested in playing, getting my hands on, and all of that, whether I've played it or not. And in this case, my personal interest pick of the week is going to be Panda Spin. That's a game that I really enjoyed my one play of it, and I do need to play it more, but I really enjoyed it and I want to get it. I really enjoy small box filler games because it's so easy to table a lot. I love a big box game, but I play my small box games so much more compared to the big experiences because they can just fit in anywhere I want, and Panda Spin is going to be a good addition to the amount of shedding and trick-taking games I've really been enjoying this past year. As far as as the game that I think is most likely to hold its value, I'm going to give that to the Leviathan Wilds. I could have gone equal to Zombie Horde, both on a similar vein as far as likely to hold their value mostly, but also might lose a bit in shipping. So I think Leviathan Wilds is likely the best bet as far as backing this one on crowdfunding, if you're interested in it at all. And that's basically what we have over here, which brings us to the coming up campaigns. We have 2 over here. We have Lords of Heaven. If it'll load, we have Lords of Heaven from Phalanx. This is going to be launching, I think, tomorrow, I guess. This is going to be, you know, I don't know a ton about the game. I've actually, like, they asked me to cover it, but unfortunately I was just too busy with Gen Con and everything, and so I didn't have a chance to cover this one, but I am interested. It looks cool. It looks cool. I'm intrigued, but this is going to be Lords of Heaven. And then also, we have over on Kickstarter, we have Barrage, the Legendary Box, that's going to be launching as well very shortly, and this has 8,000 people following the campaign because a lot of people like Barrage and want the Legendary Box for this game. And that's what we have over here. That is basically everything. That is your 2-back and not to back. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I appreciate you being here. This is indeed, we are hitting records every single week. It's like the shortest 2-back and not to back ever. Like, I debated skipping this week and doing 2 next week, but that ends up leaving so much homework on my plate. I was like, you know what? We'll have a shorter video. It'll be easier. It'll be to the point. It's fine. It's okay. We're all cool here. We're all cool here. But in any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one. Coffee kind of warmed up a bit doing that whole video. I mean, it's 25 minutes of me not drinking coffee, so I guess it is what it is. But yeah. I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised.